We online now, Markesha?
Yes, we are. We are live.
Okay. Good morning and welcome everyone to today's hearing. My name is Councillor Munir Ahmed and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Ranjit Dhir, Councillor Julian Grant, and I comprise today's subcommittee. Markesha Grant, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, will be minuting the meeting. Atun Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee. And you will have all received or seen the agenda pack, with which is contained the licensing officer's report with details of the application in section 1. To confirm, we are dealing with the new premises made by a new premises application made by Mr. Satvinder Kapoor relating to booze stop. We note there has been representation objecting to the application from responsible authority. In accordance with the procedure, I shall invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. Then I will invite those who have made representations, objections to make their representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee democratic service officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting. I hope we will be done by 12:30 and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Now, before we move on to the representations, can I just ask those who are present to introduce themselves? And I'll start by asking the applicant to introduce. Satvinder, can you introduce yourself? Can you unmute? You need to unmute yourself, Satvinder.
Hi, my name is Satvinder Kapoor.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, thank you. Robert Deere?
Yeah, Bob Deere, the Licensing, Compliance and Enforcement Officer for Ealing Council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Police?
Good morning, Chair and panel and everyone concerned. Sergeant Dimitri Kassar representing the Metropolitan Police Service, and with me I have my Licensing Officer Victoria Hewson. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start the presentation and I'll ask Mr. Kapoor to present the application. Mr. Kapoor, it's your turn to present the application.
Yes, based on the shop that I wanted to take over, this is an empty shop, which is next to my uncle's shop. The representations which have been made against for some reasons. Basically, I wanted to take over the premises, and it's an empty premises at the moment, and we wanted to make into a complete wine shop, and we believe which I can run myself. Currently, I'm running a store in Sunninghill, Ascot, and we seem to be doing okay there. And this is quite close to where I reside. And I wanted to see if there's an opportunity that we can open up a store very locally to myself.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to ask the responsible authorities if they have any question. The police first. Do you have any question, Mr. Kassar?
Yeah, hello, Chair. Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, Savinda. With regards to your venue in Ascot, you say you run it successfully. What type of venue is that, if I may ask? Is it similar kind of environment?
It's quite a large store. It's double fronted side, and we've taken over the premises back in 2022, and it runs as a grocery supermarket plus a liquor store, which seems to be doing well. It's quite a large store, and we seem to be doing okay there.
Okay. Then with regards to Boo Stop, this store you want to open, will that be a shop that is similar in style, or will it just be like a specialist type store in terms of selling wines and alcohol?
Basically, when I saw I feel there's a demand in the area for a proper wine shop. There's a lot of grocery stores. There's a lot of vegetable stores. We wanted to just specialize in good wines and high-end wines, which we can actually sell to and advertise quite a lot online. And there's quite a large demand in the area for high-end alcohol, and not selling any. Well, we don't wish to sell anything over 6% anyway. We don't want to cause any trouble for the area itself. Where we are running at the moment in Ascot, there is no limitation or anything for that yet. We haven't advertised anything in single cans or anything, which we are allowed to, but we don't sell anything in a single can. We sell pack of 4s and pack of 6s and boxes. In wines, we sell quite a lot of high-end wines, which basically starts from £8 onwards. We don't actually sell any cheap wines to.
Okay.
It's a proper liquor store that we run there as well.
Savinda, can you just confirm? So, are you selling just wine? It's going to be a shop that's a specialist wine shop, or will you be selling beers as well and other types of alcohol?
Beers, wines, and alcohol. So no grocery or.
Okay, so it's other types of alcohol. It's not just wine.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, just soft drink and crisp and like crisp chocolates and just high-end wines, which people don't buy regularly, or people don't actually spend a lot on. So they buy once and enjoy the actual wine itself, not.
Okay, but you're still selling beers and other spirits as well?
Yeah, not anything over 6% anyway. We don't wish to sell anything over 6%.
Okay. In terms of the location where your shop is, are you aware it's in an SPA, special policy area?
Yes. But I have quite a lot of experience in dealing with those side of things. We don't. Well, my main aim is to run the actual store in myself.
Satwinder, the question is, do you know it's a special police area? So can you explain, Mr. Khasa, what is a special police area?
Where there's a lot of binge drinking in the area, and there's a lot of crime and trouble in the area. Is that what it is?
Yes, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you.
No, that's what I feel it is, but I think I am quite capable in myself in dealing with those things.
All right. Okay, Mr. Khasa, thank you, Chair. So going back to that, in terms of the staffing of your store, how is that going to work? Are you going to be there for the duration all the time? Because you've got another store that you're running in Sunninghill, and covering that distance will be quite difficult for you on your own. So in terms of the structure of how you're going to run the store, how are you going to work that with staffing issues?
The staff that we are going to put in, well, we need one staff, and there's also my wife who will be helping me out with the actual store itself. She currently helps me with the other store, so she's quite capable of running that store itself. We are currently free during weekdays, and we're just looking for something local to actually run it ourselves with my wife, and also the staff that we will be employing. We will have them trained in, have their own personal license. They make sure that they're going for the courses itself, and they actually hold a premises license themselves, so they actually know what the training and everything has been will be done to them. So we'll be monitoring ourselves on daily basis, quite local to us.
In terms of yourself, obviously, because I can't ask your colleagues, but do you understand the 4 licensing objectives, and can you state them to me? Because if you're in an SPA, generally anywhere, but that would be something that you'd have to be on top of it at all times.
Yes, mainly is the four objectives. So it's public nuisance, crime and harm, noise, and there's public safety, and harm, nuisance, and crime disorder.
If I may ask, are you reading that off a sheet?
No, I'm just writing it down.
Okay.
While I'm going, the last time, I don't know the exact wording of it, but I understand the 4 objectives which need to be met by the authorities.
And what's your understanding of those 4 principles?
Basically, my main point is the way I want to run the store myself is not cause anything wrong to anyone. We just want to have an honest earning, and we just want to have the area safe itself, have everything up and running as normal, and just make a living out of it. To be honest, it's not something that we are starting new. We are quite in the business itself already, and we just want to just sort of see if we can expand in this area, not causing any trouble to any authorities or any public or anyone else.
Okay. Obviously, I've done a bit of research on the area, as is my job. So you stated earlier that your uncle runs the shop next door to you. Now, I went with trading standards a few weeks ago, and I'm not alluding this to you, but in terms of is there a working relationship between you and your uncle?
There is no current relationship at all. That's what my main aim is to say. They are running their own thing. All I'm aware of is that this is a separate premises, complete to number 59. And this is 59A, which will be completely run by myself and our staff. There's no involvement by anyone else. And as far as I'm aware as well, the number 59 is going into development, and they won't be they're demolishing the actual building itself. So which is, I think, by end of May or something, which the whole premises, the whole building will go down, and only 59 will stay. So there is no involvement with with anyone else, no.
Because I take it, are you aware that building next door, I know you say you don't have a working relationship with your uncle, but are you aware that is a non-licensed venue in terms of selling alcohol sales?
Yes, so they're not permitted for any license.
So you are aware of that then?
That their license has been revoked?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, all right. From me, Chair, at this stage, I have no further questions. Sorry to take up so much time.
No,
and
that's
thank you for your
absolutely
time.
fine. That's absolutely fine. Satwinder, police emailed you on 12th of December
Yes.
with some conditions,
Yes.
and they were expecting a response. What was the reason you didn't respond to them?
After the conditions, when they emailed me, I was literally just writing an email down. Then I had a call from the licensing team. I can't remember her name. They asked me to reply to that email, and I said, "What are we? What conditions can we put or something?" And they said, "Let me get back to you." Then no one actually got back to me. I said, "Look, I agree with everything. This is this. The only thing was said something about 20%. 20% of the actual 20 cl of the bottle of whiskies or vodka, that's where we can start from." And I just said, if we could start from 10 cl rather than 20 cl.
That's not my question. My question is, why did you not reply? I mean,
I was waiting for the licensing of team to get back to me with the confirmation so I could actually write that on email. But we did have a conversation over the phone.
did you acknowledge that email with a simple reply that, yes, I have received your email? Did you acknowledge it?
No, my mistake. I do apologize about
But
that.
a responsible person dealing with police on the licensing would acknowledge at least to say that I have received, yes?
But I'm not sure if they put down in the actual notes from the licensing that they were actually agreeing with the police to get back to me with the condition that we can actually.
I'm just talking about responding to police, acknowledging.
Acknowledging, yes, I do. I do apologize for that as well, that I did not reply because I was in the influence that they were going to get back to me with a reply.
Okay. Ms. Hewson, did you raise your hand again?
No, just to say I didn't get a response. I didn't get a response to the email.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Okay. No, because I did not reply. My apologies for that, but it was running with the other stuff, and then we had a brief thing with the actual advertisement that we were putting with the actual notice. There was some confusion with it being for the 5th of February or 4th of February. So going with the emails up and down, there was a lot of confusion, which was causing with the actual.
Satwinder, my question was very simple. As a responsible person dealing with licensing and police, it would be very good to just acknowledge and say, I have received your email and I will be responding to you.
Yes, I should have replied. I do apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Grant, can I come to you later and let Bob ask questions first?
Of course, Chair. Yes, of course, Chair. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Robert Deere, it's your turn now to ask any questions.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Kapoor, you say you've been a licensee for a few years. How many years have you been a licensee?
Since 2005.
2005. That's when you held your personal license, is it?
Yes.
What other premises have you worked in Southall during that 17-year period between taking over Sunninghill Hill premises?
I was actually working for DHL, and then the licensing itself. When I applied, I was working in premises called Cost Cutter in Slough, and then I sort of left that job because I had an opportunity working for DHL. So I went there. Then a few years down the line, I had my little baby. We just wanted to start something ourselves. So that's why we actually opened up we took over the store up in Sunninghill High Street.
Okay, so what we're saying, if you please disagree with me if I'm wrong, you've had a personal license since 2005. You've done a little bit in Cost Cutter in Slough, and your main experience is from 2022 in Ascot.
Yes. Well,
yes.
I've run the stores in Cost Cutter, so I was the manager there, which I was running for 3.5 years, and then
DHL come along.
DHL came along. I had an opportunity. Then I was working with them for like nearly 4.5 years, and then the opportunity came up when I was unemployed actually for 1.5 years, looking for a job just before COVID. There was a bit of a credit crunch type thing in the DHL stuff, and then we took over. We sort of raised some money and took over the actual store in Sunninghill.
Okay, your premise in Sunninghill. What's the company name it's registered under?
There is no company. It's run as sole trader as myself.
Yourself, okay. But you've had another company, haven't you? As per my representation.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a time when I was living in Southall.
Yep.
And then my cousin brother wanted actually me to join a company with them. Then it didn't actually work out. So there was no filing or anything being done for anything. There was just a company which was open, AMJ Food and Wine. And then we just didn't go to plan, and then we just sort of left that as it
Okay.
it is.
And you mentioned AMJ, which was registered at 10 Dudley Road. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Which was run by the Kapoor family, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And was it your father, your uncle, your brother, or your relative that was running that shop?
A few years, I think it was 2013 or 14. That's when I actually joined Cost Cutter. So I think they sold the business, or they gave it to someone, and then it didn't actually work out with us. I left just before that. I said, look, there's no point. The business wouldn't actually do well in this area, plus it was very small premises.
Right, yeah, it was very small. But Mr. Kapoor, you registered you incorporated your company at Dudley Road in 2022, was it not? 23.
AMJ?
Yeah.
It was incorporated as in the company.
That was the change of registered address was put down as 10 Dudley Road.
They must have changed it, because I don't actually have anything.
Well, only you can sign the documentation unless they forge your signature.
I haven't actually.
Are you saying they're deceitful then, the rest of your family or whoever's running that shop, and could actually sign that over to them?
The premises?
No, not the premises, the company that was running it.
As far as I know, the company was closed down by the accountant.
Oh, okay. Perhaps you need to get in touch with him.
Yeah,
right, so you mentioned 59, and he's your uncle there, is he, Jasbir?
Yes.
He is, right, okay. And what has he got a lease on that premises, do you know? You might not know.
I don't have a clue.
Okay, no problems. Because a visit was made recently to another shop in Southall, in Shop Local, another shop run by the Kapoor family, and the son of Mr. Kapoor that was running that shop said that they'd been a bit slack, and that's why they fell foul of some conditions and things. That he mentioned that Apologies have been busy opening their new shop and building it, meaning your shop. Because you are doing building work, aren't you? And you've knocked through into 59, haven't you? And you've extended 59A.
No, this was a fish and chips shop before.
Yeah, but you've knocked through. You've knocked through because Mr. Kapoor's office has been gone, and it's part of your shop now, isn't it?
No, they bought a shop in Burnham. As far as I know, this is my cousins who are running this. So they got
No, Mr. Kapoor. Let's go back to 59 and 59A,
yes.
Western Road, Southall. We both know it, don't we?
Yes, yes.
Right. If you go into Mr. Kapoor's storeroom, there was an office to the left. That's been knocked out, and there were building work when I visited with the police. And that shop goes into your shop, the shop you've purchased.
Completely wrong. I totally disagree with that. This was a premises called Hip Top Fish and Chips. which they've left. I think the lease expired or something 6 months ago, and then we had an opportunity. We saw an empty premises, not paid any goodwill or anything for it, and we just wanted to take over as a rental thing from the landlord and run it as a wine shop.
Okay.
This was a separate premises. If you can have a look on the picture, which was taken by yourselves on the actual thing, it does say Tip Top Fish and Chips.
Oh, I didn't know. I've never seen it open, the shop, so I wouldn't know what it was. But
They've
I
not-
know that that office is gone and they've knocked through into the building behind it, which
There is two
is the fish and
shutters.
chip shop.
This was a fish and chip shop. It's a red fish board, which is actually on the agenda and everything, and it's registered completely as 59 Western Road, and then there's a flat on top of it.
Well, okay, perhaps we'll disagree there, because the building work I saw wasn't going up; it was going parallel, i.e., horizontal,
They're
into
knocking
your
down
shop.
the building, so they're
No,
knocking
okay then.
down
Okay.
the-
You was asked a question about the special priority area or special policy area, and you said you know what it's there for, but you haven't got any restrictions on your Ascot shop.
Yes.
Can you explain, what, in your opinion, why you don't think you don't need any restrictions on shop in Ascot? Would you say Ascot and Southall are very similar in area and clientele?
No, Ascot is completely quiet. It's a residential, similar sort of area in respect to public. So the flow is like the same on how we saw on the actual high street and the premises here. We want to impose, well, I personally think we want to just sell everything which is not into binge drinking or anything. So we don't advertise any strong lagers, big bottles or anything like that. We don't like to sell any single cans. We want to sell multi-pack cans. We want to sell, basically we want to specialize in a high-end wine, alcohol type shop, not just selling local cheap beers.
Okay. I'll just stop you there, Mr. Kapoor. You say you don't want to sell cheap, cheap beers and things like that. Excuse me. I'd like to make a couple of points. You have questioned the condition, and I don't think the condition was 20 CLs of on the miniature to start with. It may be, I haven't seen that condition. But one, why do you want to sell miniatures?
We don't want to sell miniatures.
Oh, so you'd say you'd sell no miniatures, you'd have that condition.
We just want to sell 10 CL and above.
Well, that's a miniature. 10 CL's a miniature.
No, 5 CL is a miniature.
No. What I'm saying is that's what agents put on there. Is 5 CL is a miniature. 10 CLs. What's 10 CLs do then?
It's 10 CL.
I know it's double.
It's double of 5 CL. So this is why I think we are doing. If someone wants to drink a 10 CL and just call it a day, so we should give them 10 CL, not telling them to drink more than 10 CL.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to have one shot, or meaning a 2 shot, they just want to have 2 shots, and then we are telling them to drink more by giving them 20 CL.
Yeah, but you're saying you just said you don't want to sell 1 can, you want to sell 4 and 6. Well, that's the same idea, isn't it? Same principle.
A minimum of 2 or a pack. So right now the cash and carries are building the actual packs into 2. So the 2 cans are attached together.
Oh, right.
One. So we want to sell not single cans, but starting with 2 or maybe pack of 4. So depending on how the area works.
Because you started your presentation saying about high-end wine shop, because there's a big market for it. Well, no disrespect to people, bottles of wine start at 750 really nowadays. So that's not really high end, is it? That's normal. And
No,
I'm not
we
talking
were still-
about
yeah.
Italian-based wine from Romania where you buy two bottles and sell them for £80.
£80, yeah. So we don't.
No,
wish
that's
to
not
sell them.
that's not
We don't
high end. No.
No, we wish to sell something like which we sell quite a lot in our other store, which is Yellowtails, Jacobs, Castelleros, and then you go into the high end, which is Campers and everything. They go to £10 a bottle, and then you have £15 bottles, and we even sell £45 bottles, which are locked up in a nice case, and people actually buy those.
Right, because I mean, I'll put it to you, Mr. Kapoor, that all you really want to do is open another off license in a special priority area, because your uncle's shop was, well, it lost its license 2 years ago, but and hasn't. Oh, where have you gone?
Sorry, my bad.
That's all right.
Sorry, I was just on the phone, so it's ringing in the middle.
I was ringing. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. You just want to bring another off license into an area where you really need to show the committee members today some exceptions to that policy, really.
Basically,
And all you're doing is bringing another off license into an area that's saturated with premises at the moment. And oh, sorry, one last question has just come to me.
Sure.
You say, and I don't want you to say it online, please, because that would be totally wrong. But do you live at the same address as your uncle?
My uncle? No, I live at the.
No, don't say
address
the address, please. You live close by, do you? The shop.
the shop. Yes, I live at 76 Valley Road.
Yeah, I'll tell
You don't
yeah.
need to say the
You
address.
don't need to say it.
just
I've said that 3
whether
times,
you're-
Mr. Kapoor. Yeah, but that's where you live. Yeah, I know where you live. Yeah, and I know where your uncle lives. But
Yes.
yeah, so okay, Chair. Thank you very much. I've got no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to my colleagues, I've got a question. Satwinder,
Yes.
who was running Dudley Road shop?
Dudley Road, my cousin brother, which is my third uncle's son.
Okay, and you registered your company at Dudley Road, 10 Dudley Road, in January 2022. But
Yes,
you said you are not aware.
I am not aware of that. No.
So
I said
who was in charge of that company? You were the director on that company, sole director.
Yeah, as far as I know, the accountant we had closed down the company.
No, the company was closed on 19th December 2023. So company was registered at 10 Dudley Road for almost 2 years.
Yes, I am totally unaware of that.
Okay.
So I will look into that. As I said, I've got nothing to do with that. We didn't file anything or do anything.
Well, it's your company, so you have to really answer. If you say you don't know about this, then that's not good. You are the director on the company and your company is registered at address. And you are saying you don't know.
I need to confirm with the accountant. I don't know what they've done. I can't look into it. I don't have any paperwork with the details, or I can't look online to see where it is.
Okay. And who is running the shop at 59 Western Road?
It's my uncle.
Your uncle. Okay. And on the according to the licensing officer's notes, on 29th of January, when the test purchase was failed, and his father stated that the son applicant. So your uncle said that you were running the shop on 29th January when test purchase was failed. What is your answer to that?
Which shop? The shop is not even open. Which shop are we talking about?
Bob, can you clarify that? Which we are talking about 59 Western Road?
Sorry, Chair. 1 minute. I'm just.
It's on page 49.
Yeah. Yes, Chair. Mr. When we visited, it was, well, it used to be called Best Quality. It's called I'm sure Mr. Kapoor can help me because it's right next door to his shop.
It's called One Stop now.
One Stop, that's it. One Stop. And Mr. Kapoor that was in there working, who sold the article to the underage person, stated that you were his son.
They say as his son, as in
Savvy. He said savvy. That's who he kept saying. I couldn't understand. Then obviously I've twigged when I've seen your name on the application.
they say as son, as in
Yeah, in
our culture,
Asian culture,
Yep.
nephew is a son as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's
Yeah.
what he said, Chair. Anyway, so obviously
So
the
were
shop
you?
is still open,
So
and
the
he's still
question
running
is-
it.
So the
But
question is.
I have got nothing to do with 59 Western Road.
So the question is, Satvinder, your uncle said that you were running the shop.
I was in the shop. They visited. Was I in the shop?
But obviously,
No.
if
Sorry, Chair. He said you, because I said, is the company? Oh, sorry, is the shop? You know, in the name of, company name of, and he said, and he kept saying savvy to me. Now, perhaps I'm putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4, but
Next door or this shop?
Chair.
59 or 59A?
he said
Chair,
59A.
Yeah, Chair, if I may interject here.
Yeah.
In terms of what Robert is saying, Bob Deere is saying, Mr. Kapoor was there on the night, alluded to the fact that Savinder may have, in terms of, as you say, the language utilised is my son runs this venue, number 59. So that's what he was alluding to. So we took that on face value, Chair, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And in terms of what Bob has stated, I was there on the night in question. When we went at the back, it did appear like the wall had been broken through, and there was alcohol there, but it looked like it had led into the chip shop next door, because it's really close together, if that makes sense, in terms of the geographical and structural location of that whole building. Now, I'm not a planning person, so I'm not talking in terms of planning here, Chair, but that is how we saw it on that particular night. I cannot comment on the planning stuff. It's not in my remit, and I don't understand where, how, and what that works through, if that makes sense. I'm not bringing that. I'm just alluding to what Bob was saying earlier.
So both you and Bob, did you see this gentleman in the shop that day?
We didn't see him in the shop that day. It was the older gentleman, Bob.
Jazzbeer. It was Jazzbeer.
Jazzbeer was in there, who had sold the incorrect article to a young individual on the night in question, which was the 29th of January, when we attended. But he alluded to saying that Savinder runs the shop.
Okay.
Okay, I hope that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Councillor Grant, do you have a question?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just a couple. First of all, it's about the area. It's Southall. That has been designated by Ealing Council as a special policy area, Savinder.
Yeah.
Why has it been so designated?
Firstly, I believe it's quite populated in terms of the houses and everything, and people come in specialized, do a lot of shopping in the Southall area itself. And then there's people who are good, who mind and do right things and have their drinks or whatever they want to have, or not cause any trouble to anyone. And then there's people who want to just have a drink and try and cause trouble. So there's all sorts of mixtures in the area. And for us, we as a normal resident of the area, we just want to run our normal business.
Satvinder, the question is why Southall has been designated as a special policy area?
There's quite a lot of trouble in the area, and there's a lot of crime in the area, I believe.
Okay.
Trouble
so
means with regard to the off licenses, what trouble?
In terms of off license, when people drink a lot or do binge drinking, they cause trouble.
Yeah. Okay, so you've identified that. You've identified that. So I want to hear from you, with looking at the camera, if you don't mind, what you're going to do if the license was to be granted. What you do, specific in your mind, what you do to mitigate against that.
Well, the conditions that we wanted to advise.
Can you look at the camera, Satwinder? Yes.
That's the actual thing we wanted to advertise ourselves, not to cause any binge drinking in the area, not to cause not to serve any underages or any person who looks drunk or who's even half drunk, and not actually serve them. And that's why we are sort of imposing the single cam policy, the 6% policy, and the actual what we want to specialize in, rather than just selling the big bottles of ciders and all that. So this is what we want to try and avoid.
Okay, thanks. And Chair, if I may ask just one more question. Thank you very much, Linda. Thanks for this. Want to hear from you. The question about I wasn't quite clear. You might have answered it, but will there be a person who holds a license on the premises at all times?
Yes, we want to the staff that we are going to employ or hire will have his own person's license,
Right.
And they will be, well, a person with a personal license will be present at all times. Yes.
You mentioned your wife will be helping in the shop, was she?
Yes. Well, she currently helps me at the other shop in Sunning Hill.
Okay.
She doesn't hold a personal license herself, but she is quite fully trained with the actual alcohol side of everything. If anything, we can actually send her for training if she covers any shifts, or when she's there, when I just need to do cash and carries. That's the only time I think she'll be covering the actual premises with another staff. But we will get her trained and have a personal license training as well.
Well, that's the first time I've heard that. So you're saying that you would not leave your wife in the shop, running the shop, without having training and without a personal license?
We are having a person's license and going for the training. I believe it sort of opens up your brain a bit more. So she should have a person's license. I believe we can send her for training. It's not a problem.
Okay, so you agree that anybody who's will be running that shop would have a personal license. Okay, thank you very much. That's fine. Thank you very much, Chair. That's great. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Deer, do you have any question? Can you unmute yourself, please, Councillor Deer?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Kapoor. Mr. Kapoor, you say in your application that you're opening this as a proper wine shop because there's a demand for high-end wine. What is your source of this information? I mean, has there been a research by the wine industry or by Wine Producers Association? Because if you ask people in Southall this question, I think they will tell you that that vast majority of people in Southall drink beer and spirits, whiskey, brandy, Bacardi, that sort of drink. So where did you get this information about big demand for wine and high-end wine?
Yes, the high-end wine itself, we sell it at our other store in Sunning Hill. What we've seen a change in people where they were drinking beers and everything, especially in the colder the weather area. The beer sells less than the wine sells more, and people intend to drink. The new generation and new people are drinking less than usual, how they were drinking before. They're more educated in drinks. People are a lot of into dietitians itself. So they want to go for something which is high-end, sort of, well, alcohol as well as alcohol, spirits, and everything, and also wines. They sell. They want to drink wine rather than drinking more beer in the area now. So based on our experience in our other store, we believe that there's a market of how we actually sell in that area, and in this area is quite similar.
But in response to an earlier question, you agreed that there's a difference between Sunning Hill, Ascot, and Southall in terms of two areas, in terms of ethnicity. Yeah, so I'm still at a lot about. It may be your feeling, it may be your view, but there is, I mean, unless you tell me, there is no properly researched evidence to say that people in Southall, particularly in Dudley Road area or in Western Road area where you propose to open this shop, that they have developed a taste for good fine wines.
That's what we want to try and advertise in fine wines only, to actually sell high-end wines rather than selling the cheap wines or cheap beers. This is all into an advertisement. So there's also groups in like UB1, UB2, where people just flash on anything, and so there's a market for it. That's what we see. So people will make an effort who wants to drink good wines, going into a good wine store and drinking and picking up something, the wines that we trying to sell, which is high-end wine. We don't want to sell anything just to make a few pennies out of it, but we want to sell good quality of wines and spirits rather than just selling cheap stuff to people.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we've come to the end of this session of questioning, and now I'm going to go to the responsible authority to present their side, and I'll start by taking police first.
Just do your.
Hi, Chair. Yeah, so from a police perspective, Chair, a few things, which Mr. Sabinder Kapoor has answered already, but the first one was when he was emailed on the 12th of December 2024, he didn't even acknowledge our email to him, which PC Victoria Hewson sent to him at the time. I understand there may have been some form of miscommunication, but just an acknowledgement, because to us it looked like he wasn't willing to engage with us in terms of negotiating certain issues with regards to conditions on the license. The second thing, Chair, is that from a police perspective, we feel that in that region of Southall, it being a special policy area, I feel at this moment in time it is quite saturated with these types of shops. And forgive me for saying, I know Mr. Kapoor has been selling this to us as a high-end kind of exclusive wine shop, but in his conversation with us so far, it would appear that it just looks like it's going to be another off license, as it were, just obviously with alcohol, selling alcohol, and that's an obvious thing, is the point I'm trying to make. So I don't believe from a policing perspective, that this venue is going to be that high-end wine shop. And I think that the clientele base in Sunning Hill compared to Southall, especially in that particular region, it's two very different demographics, if that makes sense. So I think it's not, and I don't mean any disrespect, so please understand me, but you know what I mean, it's just slightly two different areas, different demographics, a difference of clientele base, etc. Now, my issue with this off license opening there is I'm just concerned that it being in an SPA, and with the antisocial behaviour that we have from street drinkers, etc., that this will be another contributing factor to further issues such as petty crime, antisocial behaviour, which are two of the licensing objectives, which I know Mr. Kapoor saying that he understands and is willing to work with responsible authorities in order to try and prevent this from happening. But I feel in terms of it being this particular area being saturated with these types of shops, it almost becomes like a go-to place for street drinkers to go from point A, point B, point C, point D, point E if they can't get it from one area to the other. In terms of other issues, Chair, we just feel that, and again, this is just an assumption in terms of the conversation we've had, we just feel that 59 being the shop next door, which Mr. Kapoor has stated is run by his uncle, there appears to be some conflict in terms of who actually owns the store, and we just feel, in terms of our observations, that the one store will be feeding the other store in terms of sales of alcohol, etc. So instead of it being, I know they'll be labeled as two different stores, but we just think in terms of, if you look at the structure of that place, it actually will be one store, and it's almost like one area feeding another. I know Mr. Kapoor has stated that this is not the case, but from having visited there on the 29th with our colleagues from the council, trading standards and enforcement, I think that may not necessarily be the case. And from our perspective, we feel under the two licensing objectives, which is crime and disorder and preventing public nuisance, I think that this shop will not stop that from happening. I think it may be a contributory fact from that happening. I would just also like to highlight that when we did research on the Chippy, which the fish and chips shop before, yes, there weren't loads of incidents in terms of criminality coming through. And of course, being a police officer, I've got to be transparent and honest with you in terms of what I found in terms of my research. But there were issues relating to immigration. Now, Mr. Kapoor didn't own that store at that time, so the research that we conducted on the fish and chip shop, which is the empty store that he's purchasing now, he has no link to that whatsoever. But in terms of what I've highlighted briefly, the shop next door being run by his uncle or Savinder here, that is unclear. I feel that it's going to be just a bog standard off license. It's not necessarily going to cater for high quality wines, because high quality wines are not sold at £8 a bottle. It's slightly higher threshold in terms of that. And if you're going to sell wine at £7 or whatever, the alcohol limit is still quite high, as in 12.5%. So for a street drinker, that is something that is almost, it's like grape juice that is higher in alcohol, so it just contributes to drunkenness, and then that leads to people behaving in an antisocial manner and then causing minor criminality, which then has an impact on local residents around that area. So from a policing perspective, these are our concerns, and that's why we put the objection in. I hope what I've said makes sense, and again, thank you for your time.
It does make sense, and you have become very fluent now. Thank you. I'll go to Robert Deere now.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I've got a few points to add. This shop is a small shop. It's in the special priority area, and that special priority area is, or policy area, sorry, is there for a purpose. It's right at the edge, actually, of that policy area. But as you come down King Street, numerous off licenses down there that all sell wine. Anyway, every off license down that shop sells wine, bottles and bottles everywhere. You come down Western Road, one off license further up at 49 was revoked due to problems. 59 was revoked, problems. You've only got to go outside the special priority area, across the road to good old Dudley Road, and there are 4 off licenses within a very short space, all selling wine. Some of them have been lost its license and got one back because of legal products. The premises right next door to 59A is owned by the uncle who, when we visited in January, the shop was full of hidden cases of spirits and such like all around the shop, for which he was told to remove the next day, and is in fact the third occasion. We saw building work in there. The policy area is there, and it has a rebuttable presumption to refuse all new licenses, apart from special exemptions. One of those is being substituting one closed premises for another. Well, we don't substitute a new premises for a revoked license next door. Another purpose is that we don't consider good management. So I appreciate Mr. Kapoor is obviously running a very good business over in Ascot, but has been mentioned by myself and Councillor Deer. Totally different clientele, you know. The street is full of street drinkers in Southall. Up the corner there on the corner of Western and King Street, numerous complaints from vulnerable people and women who feel unsafe and intimidated in that area at night. It's a very dark area, very badly lit. So I feel, as no exceptional circumstances have been put before you, the policy says it should be adhered strictly to. This license should be refused. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask Satwinder to ask question. Satwinder, do you have any question now to police or to Robert Deer?
Not a question. I just want to clarify one thing completely.
This is only question time. If you want, you will have the opportunity to sum up later. So if you have any question to or clarification, you can ask now. But if you want to sum up your case, you will do later on.
Yeah, if I may clarify one thing only, please. The 59 and 59A is a complete separate property. The 59A was run as a chip shop before. There's separate everything for it. There's complete separate. The work that you may have seen or something, it's got flat upstairs which they are carrying works, and the property itself at 59 will be going down, and they have planning permissions which is available on the actual Ealing website. It's all going down, and they're building up flats on top of the actual the full building. We just wanted to occupy 59A as a wine shop, just to clarify that. That's all.
Okay. Do you have any question?
No, I'm fine with everything.
Okay. Mr. Deer, Robert Deer, do you know how many off license we have on Western Road?
On that little stretch of Western Road, sir, there are at the moment none on that bit of Western Road. If you carry across Western Road further past the roundabout at the end of the road there, it isn't in the SPA. There are another 5 within close. Dudley Road's got 4. Sussex Gardens has got 1. So you're looking at least 10 within the immediate vicinity of those premises, 500 metres.
Western Road starts from King Street, is that right?
It does, sir. It does,
so
sir. And it goes. Sorry, sir.
It goes all the way up to that bridge.
Oh, so if you're going that far,
or up to Gurdwara Temple.
Yeah, you've got another. I'd say you've got another.
Satwinder, do you know how many shops there are on Western Road?
The 2 close by ones are the best one. There's an RPL, and then there's Stingsbury's. 3, as far as I'm aware. On the
no, you've got Shop Local. You've got the new shop next to the post office, which is also a thing. You've got B&B as well opposite. So
Imperial, yes, next to the post.
Imperial, yeah. Plus the Butchers has got one, sir, down. So you're looking at 10 minimum, 10 to 12 minimum in that road.
And that is between King Street and that temple.
Yes,
Gurdwara.
indeed, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My colleagues, do you have any question? Yes, Councillor
Sure.
Grant.
Chair, I've got a question. It's a little bit off piece, but I want to ask Savinda this. You want to call this shop Booze Stop? It wasn't called that before. It's a new name for the shop. Yeah,
Yes.
you want to call it Booze Stop, but you're telling us you want to sell high-end wines in this shop. So why isn't the title of the shop reflecting that desire?
The only problem was when we came down to the actual name itself, we couldn't find a specific wine's name. Then we came up with another name, which was Fine Wines. So maybe we will possibly change that to Fine Wines, then calling it Booze Stop.
But you understand Booze Stop as an implication that it's a place
Yes.
where you can go to get easy booze. Yeah?
Yeah, we wanted to go with Fine Wine, but when we were filling up the application, it just came up with Booze Stop for some reason.
Okay, thank you very much. That's fine for me, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Deer, do you have any question?
No, Chair, I have no questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, in that case, we move to the final step, and I'm going to ask the responsible authorities to sum up first, and then the applicant will have the last opportunity. So I'll start by taking police first to sum up in few words, please.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Chair. I've already alluded to our reasons about this, but from a policing perspective, we feel that the area that this shop will be situated in is already saturated with a number of off licenses in that particular area. It is in a special policy area, which alludes to the fact that there is a high level of antisocial behaviour, and we are aware that there is criminality in that locale. This, in essence, has an adverse impact on people who reside in the community. Now, Mr. Kapoor stated that the shop next door is going to be bashed down and flats are going to be put there. If it is called Booze Stop, as Councillor Gallant has alluded to already, it sounds like it's a booze stop. It's not a shop that is going to sell elite wines. So therefore, will that then impact on the residents above the flats that will be in close proximity to that? I would say potentially that will happen with street drinkers attending, antisocial behaviour being caused, etc. We also feel, sir, that I don't feel that Mr. Kapoor has given us enough evidence to suggest that, with regards to the 4 licensing objectives, that he is taking enough measures to try and curb that fact. And from our side of things, we just feel that I understand he wants to make a living, and I understand it's about making a living and doing a job and having a business, but it's about having the right type of business that actually is of benefit to the local community, as opposed to having a negative impact on the community. And I just feel that if we have another venue such as this, it may have the adverse effect as opposed to the opposite effect, positive effect. And therefore, from a policing perspective, we just say we don't feel that the license should be granted for this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Deer, Robert Deer.
Thank you, Chair. Very briefly, yes, I'll touch very briefly on the new premises, residential premises that are going to be built there, if that is true. As I said, the first part of Western Road, there are no off licenses left. An off license in the middle, even if it's small, which I don't think it is going to be small, will be a source of public nuisance, especially to those new residents, because people will, that will be one spot for them to aim to. Special priority area, no conditions that really have been offered to allay my fears, and really take that into consideration. No exceptional circumstances. So I still say, sir, refuse the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kapoor, now this is your turn to finally sum up in a few words and close the case.
Yes, based on how we I wanted to run the actual store, we believe there is a way of running the store itself. Is the area itself, I believe we can actually control and sort of have enough experience to actually run this premises itself as a good fine wine shop. And also the training and everything is what we actually specialize in. So we want to actually employ the staff and plus myself, who is going to be running day to day the store itself. So I believe we can run as a good store with the trainings being provided to all the staff and everything. Plus, we want to impose the conditions of controlling the actual binge drinking in the area. So that's what we imposing the percentage of the actual beers to be less, but obviously you can't control the wines for them to be less than 12.5%. I do believe there's wines for 11%, and there's even non-alcoholic wines, but there's some things that we can control and some things that we can't control. So obviously, with that being the fact, we just want to train all the staff and try and basically give the customers which we sort of want to have is high-end customers. We're not advertising binge drinking. So we don't want to sell any, as I said, we don't want to sell any big ciders or cheap cans or cheap wines or anything. So we would just want to run it as a fine wine store, which I believe I have enough experience to run it as that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Zeb, is there anything that you need to clarify before we retire for deliberation?
Chair, the only thing you may want to just check with Mr. Savinder about is the police conditions. I think he said, and it may be worth just checking with him, that he was agreeable to all but one of those conditions. And you may want to just check with him if indeed that is the case or anything different. Thank you.
Satwinder, you heard that?
Yes, it was the police wanted us to not sell anything over 6% and not sell any miniatures and comply with all the CCTV side. Yes, I do understand. Yes, so it's all fine with the actual conditions.
Okay, you agree with all conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Markesha, are you okay with your notes, or is there anything you need to clarify?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Then this is time for deliberation. So
Chair,
the committee will, yes,
Chair, when I arising out of Mr. Kapoor's response to the issue of police conditions, and he says that he will accept all of them. Could I ask Mr. Dear, Robert Dear, would he still recommend refusal, or would he, in the light of Mr. Kapoor's acceptance of conditions, would he agree that the committee would he agree that he would accept granting this license?
So, Robert Dear, the question is, if the applicant is accepting all police conditions, are you still sticking to your decision or recommendation, or you are minded to change it?
No, sir, I'm still sticking to my recommendation because not only because of the high strength condition is above our policy, it's 5.5, but that's a very side point. I just mentioned that, but I still feel I've no confidence in Mr. Savinder running this premises, and it's in a very tough area, which he knows. He appreciates the the problems in the area, and this will just make it worse.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, we have come to the end of the hearing, and
Chair, if
we
I-
are going.
Chair, if I may, I think after that, I think Savinda ought to have a chance to respond to that if he wants to.
Yeah, based on my experience, if you want to come and visit the actual store where I'm currently running day-to-day basis, you can ask the council. They've had multiple trials where they've sent underage to trial out to see if we sell anything to them, and we've complied with all conditions in the stores, and we mind everything by noting down and any refusals that we write, everything in. So there's a process that we closely follow with the other premises, which can actually work here with exactly the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. The committee will now retire, and it is 11:41 now. I assume that we will be able to come back at 12:30, but if we can't, then we will notify you. So stay available from 12:30. So you can all leave apart from the committee members and the legal advisor and democratic officer.